I just really, I want to open it up and just talk about Griff McGary. You know, what that guy has been through in his career here and what he went through this year is, geez, it's what it's all about when these kids put this uniform on, whether it be Dallas Baptist, us, whoever it is, right? He, was our number 2 starter, for the first half of the year, and things got away from him a little bit. And, he hardly pitched for us for a month, and he kept working and made some adjustments. His spirit never changed. He was excited for his teammates that got the opportunity in front of him. And that's really hard to do. It's a really unselfish thing to do when you're an elite level prospect like he is. And, it's just amazing that, what you can do as a person if you just hang in there and you keep believing in yourself and you're willing to make some adjustments. It's amazing what he's done. I can tell you, I haven't seen it in my 18 years in this uniform, a kid do what he did this year. And hopefully he gets another opportunity. That'll be decided tomorrow, but just incredibly special and proud of him. He put us on his back today. And the kid's had some good outings in his career, but none of them quite like that when his team needed him the most. And, no matter what happens, he'll have that for the rest of his life. I think he'll pitch in this game for a long, long time, but he'll certainly have that that experience that he went through this year is just remarkable, and I'm just incredibly proud of him. Geloff stepped up, right? Obviously, their starter was outstanding. Great velocity, fastball on both sides of the plate, really good slider, change up to lefties. He had us tied in knots, and we just, fortunately, McGary was really, really tough and could match him. And then, we were able to figure it out enough that Geloff put a good swing on the ball, and then we got a few base runners, and it opened up, and Tappen was able to deliver that 3-run home run. So just really excited for our guys and get an opportunity to play again tomorrow.
First question we'll take from Bennett and then Jeff White.
Coach, you've got a really deep pitching staff. What is it about Griff McGary that made you believe that he was the guy to go in Game 2 today?
What made me believe in him, and it wasn't a lack of confidence in anybody else. Obviously, we showed the depth of our pitching staff last weekend and what they're capable of doing. So whoever's going to go out there tomorrow at the starter out of that bullpen is going to give us a great shot to win. But, I believed in him because of the transformation he's went through this year and what he did last weekend. He earned it. We talk a lot in our program that you earn everything you get. And he stepped up for his team last weekend, and he earned this opportunity. Matt Wyatt did too. Other guys did too. But, I just felt like Griff stuff can be so incredibly overpowering to guys. And it fortunately proved true today.
Hey, Brian, Alex Tappen is another 4th-year guy like Griff McGary who is kind of coming on late in the season. I went back and looked, and going into the Georgia Tech series, he was hitting 113 with no home runs. And, now he's a key part of your lineup.
Yeah.
What changed with him, and how gratifying is it as a coach to see a guy playing the way he can at this stage of his career?
So proud of Tappen. Jeff, the early part of his career. The early part of his career in our uniform, he was one of our dominant hitters, drive-in runs, had, a number of home runs his freshman year. He had a fantastic fall. Offensively, I think one of the better falls out of anybody we had, and started out in the year right in that lineup, ready to roll. And it just didn't go his way, but there's another example, it speaks to the character of the the young men in this uniform is he could have packed it up and said, listen, it's not worth it, but he kept working, kept believing in himself. A window was created, and he jumped on it and seized the moment and rose up for his team. And he's playing some of his best baseball that he's played in our uniform. And again, like I talked about McGary at the beginning, that's what it's about, and I'm just proud of him and proud that he hung in there and kept fighting for his team.
I'll take one from Damon, then Preston.
I think we talked about this going back to McGary, but I think we talked about this a little bit after he closed out the no-hitter. But you guys knew that you were going to need him to get some big outs and some big spots for you at some point this season. What changed for him down the stretch? Was it mechanical? Was it mental? Was it a little bit of both?
Well, I can't speak for him, and I'll let him do that here in a minute. But I'll say this, that I saw some subtle mechanic adjustments, a little bit less effort, a little bit more under control, and you started to see that in our midweek scrimmages, and then you saw it when you gave him an outing, an inning here or there, and you started to see it come on. And Coach Drew, continued to told me, I don't know how many times in a week he would say to me, Coach, I'm telling you, Griff McGary is going to be huge for us. He's better. He's figured it out. And, fortunately Griff put in the work and hung in there.
Coach, how bad was Griff's injury there in the 8th? And is it a new one from the one that he had last week? And how much do you think that was bothering him today, if at all?
I don't think it was bothering him at all. It was just bleeding. It's actually a different one. It was also bleeding. It was the initial one that was bleeding last weekend. And so it wasn't his thumb, where the big issue was that had him come out of the game last weekend. But the bleeding wouldn't stop. They get the rule in that case is the umpires will give you 10 minutes to stop the bleeding. But I'll tell you where he was at pitch count wise. I knew Neek would throw strikes, felt like they were going to bunt. And so just decided, Neek was coming in the game the next batter anyways, and just decided to make the switch at that time. But it just, again, it speaks to, Griff didn't complain about it, wanted to continue to go out there, wanted the ball. And it didn't, I'll let him speak, but I don't think it affected his throwing. He just couldn't stop bleeding.
I'll go with Andrew and then David Teal.
Brian, this will be the 5th time in your career that you've had a super regional kind of winner take Omaha game. Obviously, the first 4 times you've had Carl to talk to the night before. What has your relationship, how important is that pitching coach relationship in these elimination game scenarios? And what have you learned about maybe Coach Dickinson, because you've played in a lot of them now over the last couple of weeks, that you can that makes you feel good about going in tonight, making that decision, and coming out tomorrow?
Well, he's very, very thoughtful. Has conviction about who he thinks can get us off to a good start. He believes in all of his guys, but he's been right on with our conversations about what the right thing to do is. And so it's, a lot is made of who starts the game, right? But tomorrow it's going to be important. Matchups are going to be important. It's not going to be necessarily who starts the game, although that'll be important. We're going to need a number of guys tomorrow. Mike Vassell pitched out of the pen in game 1. I got both Wyatt red hot today, Savino fully hot today. So we've got to step back tonight and look at it based on them getting hot. What's the right scenario what's the right situation to do tomorrow? So we'll get it figured out. And, I'm sure if we call it right and the starter goes out there and does a great job, you guys will praise us. If you don't, you'll say we made a mistake. So just kidding.
Brian, you're still scoreless in the 7th inning when Benefield leads off with a double. How instinctive was Logan's pickoff there at second base?
Very instinctive, big key play in the game. We talk about it a lot. Miss bunts, look to throw behind the runner, and we talk about it a lot because it's happened to us, a number of times over the years, and so great heads up play, but not only by him but also by Kent to be there. So huge part of the game, and just Logan's a very, very mature, instinctful player.
Jerry and Kip.
Brian, I know your team probably didn't need a lot of motivation today, but what was your message to them before the game?
I don't know that we had a message. Didn't really talk to them before the game. We talked last night after the game that, they just got to come ready to play tomorrow, that it's one game, right? And that our program's been this before, in this position before, and that it doesn't matter who wins the first game, right? It's a series. It's a matter of who wins the series, and that, they just continue to stay in the moment and fight. And, that, at least if we don't do it, they can live with themselves because they laid it all on the line. So, that was it, really. Not much different than we normally do.
Brian, I asked Alex Tappen this the other day, and I'll bring it up with you also. Kyle Teal playing right field. How much had he historically played there, either prep or for you? Because he's become a weapon. I mean, if he's never played the outfield much before, he is a weapon out there.
He is. I'll tell you, it was about halfway through the season, and we had some guys nicked up, or maybe some guys that weren't performing at the right level. And so I remember late at night, one night, I kept a couple of guys. Well, this is around the Georgia Tech series, leading into the Georgia Tech series. Is leading into it. Kept a couple of guys late. Did a lot of fly ball work in right field with him, Jake Geloff, Tate Ballestero, Addie Burrow. And I remember, texting the staff after working those guys out at night. And I said, geez, this guy's Kelly Leak, and they were, some of our younger staff members have no idea who that is. That's the kid with the long hair that rides the motorcycle and smokes cigarettes on Bad News Bears. You could pick the dude anywhere, right? And he'd run and get the ball in center field. And that's Kyle Teal. I mean, this guy pitched in the Northwoods League last summer, played shortstop for the Canes travel ball team at times. You can play him anywhere, and so it doesn't surprise me. He's really athletic. He's completely fearless. That's one of the many reasons that I love him. So he has become a weapon. He can do a lot of different things. He's not afraid to take ground balls at third base and throw the ball across the infield. He honestly believes he can play everywhere on the diamond. I believe him.